Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another rendition of the Bros and the Berg podcast. We're coming at you live in the month of June. Cannot believe it has gone this fast already. If you are a returning viewer, or maybe you found us from one of our viral TikToks with 5,000 views, my name's Ryan. I'm joined here by my co-host, the Backwards Hat, Mr. Robbie Bergstone, and my brother in the Mavs hat. That's the executive producer, the man that brings all the ideas and work ethic to the show. Well, I just show up and occasionally be 15 minutes late. We got a jam-packed episode for you guys today. Connor, what are we starting off with?
We're going to start off. So, we do a little kind of 10-minute meetings typically before the podcast actually starts. And Robbie informs me that he brought a segment today, but to kind of give it a little bit of preface. So the NCAA baseball and softball tournaments are currently underway. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we are into the double elimination games and everything.
We're in the regionals currently.
We are in the regionals.
Baseball, softball is in the College World Series currently.
Awesome. Thank you for that update. Oklahoma State, there's some bums, man. I just got
that game against Georgia today was crazy. I was actually watching it at the gym, and I almost wore my Poke shirt to the gym today.
Oh, I forgot you got dripped out after your graduation.
I could have the drip on, but I did not. But that was an electric game. They won that one, and then not so much.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna, with that knowledge, we're gonna swing it over to Robbie. Robbie said he's brought something for us today. So Robbie, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw you guys back to when we first did our very first trivia episode on the podcast, and everyone got really upset that I knew all of these stadiums and things.
Yeah. I don't recall this happening.
There's one other thing in sports that I would consider myself very above average in terms of trivia, in terms of knowing things about it, and that would be college mascots. And it just so happens that the NCAA baseball tournament has some schools that you may not have heard of or thought about in a really long time.
Oh God!
That have some random mascots that you got to piece together. So we're gonna have a little best of 7 here between Ryan and Connor, and they're gonna try to name the mascot of each of these teams. And I will preface this with, I knew all but one without Googling it.
Nah, we're cooked.
Would normal people know any of these? Are you starting off easier and then getting harder, or are these all hard?
Starting off easy and then getting harder. And most of these teams, except for one, have made an NCAA basketball tournament as well, which is why I think you guys may know them.
Yeah.
Connor, I'm gonna be honest. I looked at like the games in the men's tournament that was going on today, and I didn't look at the fucking logo. But we got Cal Poly versus Utah Valley, brother. You could hold a sawed-off shotgun to my head. I'm just
neither of those are on the list.
Let's go. All right, I'm locked
Wildcats. That's my first answer.
All right, first one up. You guys will know this one.
Are we buzzing in?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Just whoever says it faster.
Okay.
I'll be the judge. I'm in charge here. Anyways, first one up, Coastal Carolina.
Panthers?
No.
Nope. You don't get another guess. Now it's Ryan's turn.
Oh, it's only get one. My bad.
We'll do it that way.
I was thinking about Florida Gulf Coast. No.
Yeah. Coastal Carolina. I think I know it now. Went too quick, man.
I know the colors. Oh man, I'm choking.
You got 3, 2, 1.
No.
Back to Connor.
Is it not the Hurricanes?
It's not the Hurricanes, guys. This is not a hard one. This is an FBS football program.
To be fair, you grew up in North Carolina. So,
but it's a very memorable. As soon as I say it, you're going to kick yourself for not knowing this. It's a very memorable name.
Yeah,
Coastal Carolina. I can't even picture it right now. I'm just not locked in.
I'll give the point to whoever can tell me what city Coastal Carolina is in.
I'm going to guess Wellington because it's coastal.
You're in the wrong state.
This is bad, man. This is real bad.
Couldn't tell you.
Oh, it's only going to get worse from here.
I feel like
it's brutal.
It starts with a C.
Clinton. I have no idea.
No way you said Clinton.
All right, we're just going to go past one. It's the Chanticleers.
No.
Yeah,
never.
Not in a million years.
Easy to hard. Right. Yeah, this guy said.
All right. This next one, if you don't get it, I actually will be disappointed.
We might have to cut the segment if we don't get the next one.
North Dakota State.
Bison.
Yes, correct. 1 point to Ryan.
Damn it.
All right, this next one. John Morant himself played college basketball here. Murray State.
Is it the? It's it's not. I want to say Broncos. I don't think that's right though.
Not the Broncos.
Murray State.
I can picture it.
I am not good with the mascots. It's not like a common one.
It's not.
This is not my guess. I wanted to say Tigers, but I know it's not the Tigers.
I was thinking of actually McNeese State.
Murray State.
Yes.
Is it McNeese State like a horse or something like that?
They are, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Murray State.
I got nothing.
It's something that you run in.
Something that you run in. Murray State.
You run in?
Oh, I got flip flops. Sorry,
It's a good guess.
I didn't have.
Can you get negative points?
So if I were going to F1, I'd be going to the F1. Starts with an R.
Race?
Yeah, what?
They're the Murray State Racers.
Oh,
dude, I don't.
Racers.
You guys are cooked for the rest of the season. You guys are
shut up with Chanticleers.
Yeah, you said easy to hard, bro. That's cap.
I had to get this one in. They had a big upset win over Vandy today.
Okay.
Wright State.
God, brother.
Did
you know this one like off the dome?
Yeah,
dude, he's got his mascot bag is deep, I guess.
Right,
Wright State. God, Jude's gonna clown me for this segment, man. He's also really good at mascots and everything.
It's from playing way too much college basketball 2K7 back in the day.
See, that's the thing. I never played like college NCAA college football. Like I didn't do any of that shit.
Robbie, can you give us the state that it's in, or the
Wright State? I believe is in Illinois.
Connor, that doesn't help you.
No, I know, but I'm stalling a little bit.
Brother.
It is also the name of an NFL team.
Oh, okay. That actually does help. Wright State.
That sounds good.
Chargers.
No.
Damn.
Good guess. Not a bad guess.
Yeah.
Geographically warm.
Seahawks.
No. Colder. They're in Dayton, Ohio, by the way.
Flyers.
That's not an NFL team.
Dayton. That's what Dayton
You
is.
said they're in Dayton, Ohio.
That is. They're in your home state, Ryan. Come on, lock in. It's an NFL team name.
Texans?
Colder.
Brother,
wait, NFL team.
You gotta cut this segment. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm kind of enjoying you guys getting clowned right now. This
Yeah,
one is one of the harder ones, I would say.
Wait, they're a Texas football team?
No,
he said the name. What did you say about Texas?
I said they're an NFL team. That's it. I said you were
I thought you
colder
said-
with the
I thought you
Texans.
said something about the home state. That's why I was confused.
They play in Las Vegas.
Raiders.
There it is. There it is. Nailed it.
Yeah.
They have a dog in the logo, which I don't really get that part of it. But anyways.
I mean, Wright State Raiders does flow.
That is good.
Mhm.
I'll
That is
give
true.
them
That is
that
true.
for sure.
All right.
you
Northeastern.
I knew 2 girls that went to school here in college or in high school.
Damn. Northeastern. So it's obscure. Like the mascot itself is a pretty obscure.
Yes.
one?
No, there is a major college program in the Big Ten that shares the same mascot.
I was about to.
It's
pull
a
up.
dog.
Big Ten.
Threw you off the Big Ten because they just recently joined the Big Ten.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Dog mascot, Big Ten.
Big Ten.
Come on, guys, we can get it. Lock in.
God, who is it?
There's 4 teams that just joined the Big Ten. Only one of them has a mascot that's a dog.
You're speaking so fast, and I'm struggling because you're stressing me out. It's not Oregon.
I'm not thinking of the team that joins the
Not
Big Ten.
USC.
Mm-hmm.
It's not UCLA.
Mm-hmm. And there's one more
Who's the
team.
fucking last one, bro?
Dog. Wait, UCLA.
Dog.
I was like, what? Dog. Hold on.
That's all you, Connor. You got it.
Oregon is geographically close to
Huskies.
this team.
Huskies.
There you go.
Washington.
Yeah,
God. I was thinking Washington. I couldn't think of Washington.
Huskies.
Mascot.
All right. This one's in your guys' home state. You ready?
No,
Oh, God.
Houston Christian.
brother.
Baptists. I don't know. Sometimes some of the teams.
I think
Deacons.
they went by both Baptist and Christian. I just went with Houston
Ooh, okay.
Christian.
Yeah.
So
The Deacons.
All right.
they're not.
Give us a hint, Rob.
It's the same mascot as the last one.
The Huskies?
Yep, there you go.
It's 2-2,
Okay.
man.
That's crazy work.
That is crazy. I like that.
All right. And the last one.
Oh, this is for all. What's 2-2? This is for the game.
Yeah, I mean,
it's for
I
the game,
haven't.
sure.
Yeah, I haven't been giving you guys any scores because I don't think you've gotten a single one off the top of your head.
Ryan got one, to be fair. But
Stetson.
Bennett? No, I'm just kidding.
Bears.
Not a bad
There's a brand Stetson that's very famous for making a certain article of clothing.
Yeah, God, why? I know.
We're also all wearing them currently.
Hats.
Yep.
Is it a
almost
type
there.
of that?
No, hat is in the name.
That
hats. There's a guy in Alice in Wonderland who's a little bit cuckoo that has this in his name as well.
The Mad Hatter.
Hatter.
Second part of that, Lauren.
Hatter.
They're the Hatters. The Stetson
Hatters.
Brother,
Yep.
That is a terrible.
You're telling me you knew that?
100%. Yeah, because it makes sense. This okay,
100%.
my father wears Stetsons, and Stetson's a very famous like brimmed hat, like cowboy type of hat. Is a Stetson.
I don't really like them. I don't like Hatters.
It's not a great name.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be so honest with you. That logo is kind of sick.
Is it?
It does go kind of hard.
I gotta look it up.
I'm not gonna lie.
I would be like more okay if they were the Mad Hatters. I think that's like a. Oh, that logo is pretty good actually. Wait, that goes kind of dummy.
Yeah, that logo is pretty sick. All right, now I got that in my bag now.
Exactly. And listen, guys, all the point of the segment was to educate you guys. Now you got it locked in. Now we're learning.
I appreciate
let me give you one just to make yourselves feel better about it. Miami, Florida.
Hurricane.
There we go. All right, we're locked in. All right, well, let's keep moving because that was abysmal.
Brother, I think
go through.
I think your knowledge of these fucking bozo schools is better than above average.
Listen, if you didn't take the Stetson Hatters to the national championship in 2K7, what were you even doing at the age of 9? I mean, what were you even doing?
Where is Stetson located?
Florida. We have a friend, Ryan, who went to law school there, actually.
Ryan and I, instead of like you were saying, Robbie, the college football games later in the 2000s, Ryan and I were playing NFL Street, so we have a deep bag of 2003 NFL players, and that's about
not so much college things, but now you guys gonna be locked in next March Madness. One of those teams is gonna make the tournament. You're like, I know them. I might pick them for an upset now.
You know, honestly, I'm kind of disappointed because Stetson has a Sweet 16 appearance.
That's wow. Yeah, we should have known that, man. Well, Robbie did tell us before. He prefaced us with that some of these teams had made the tournament.
I think all of them except for Houston, Christian, Baptist, whatever. I think has made the NCAA tournament like recently.
Yeah, that's man.
Also, North Dakota State, obviously,
fat endowment too. What the fuck?
I think it's a pretty good like law school.
Yeah, it seems to be.
We're watching.
All right. Yeah, I'm embarrassed. Can't believe I'm about to put that in the internet.
All right, we're going to thank you very much for that, Robbie. We're going to move into the NBA playoffs. We now have the NBA finals are set. It is the Indianapolis Pacers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder.
He said Indianapolis, but we knew what he meant.
My bad. I mean, Indiana Pacers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. That game one will occur on June 5th. The conference finals ended up being the Thunder beating the Timberwolves in 5 games, and then the Indiana Pacers beating the New York Knicks in 6. Much to the NBA's chagrin, they would have loved, a Game 7 in New York, and then obviously a New York appearances from a market perspective.
I do want to address something with the Pacers. There's been some aura farming allegations in terms of them throwing Game 5 in New York so that they could win Game 6 at home in Indianapolis. What do we think about that? I mean, do we think those allegations hold up, or
Tyrese Halliburton would in fact do something similar to that? And I'm going to actually, going off of that, there was a aerial shot of the Pacers arena. You know how they do like a Goodyear blimp type beat, and I was just comparing it mentally in my head to like MSG or some of these other like cooler locations. I'm like, that looks really bad. It's just not a pretty location or like
as a cool former stadium. Resident, the area around the stadium is not terrible. It's actually one of the nicer parts of Indianapolis, which again says something.
Exactly, that's what I'm going with.
Indianapolis,
brother.
So.
That's so funny.
Also, Tyrese Halliburton, like they were obviously already winning, hit that 3 at the end of Game
Yeah.
6, and then like flashed his nipples to the crowd, which was a wild move. I didn't really understand that move either, but he did do that. So,
yeah,
a lot to think about going into the NBA Finals.
There's a lot to think about.
Much to think about.
Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton kind of been the star of the show in terms of.
Whoa. We got to give some shout out to the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Spicy P himself, Pascal Siakam.
Did you see that? Did you see that video of Siakam getting his name announced for that? Did you see Halliburton off to the side who was like stepping through his teammates to get ready to go accept it? It's so fucking funny.
That is.
We do have to throw a shout out to Spicy P as well. Him and Kawhi, I didn't know this. I learned the stat from Reddit the other day. Are tied for the second highest scoring playoffs of a duo in NBA history. They're tied with Jordan and Pippen and are only beaten out by Bron and Dwayne Wade.
That's pretty wild.
Which is a crazy stat. So,
well, that's what
shout our mans.
That's what I was about to say, because obviously in terms of just social media itself and everything like that, I feel like, Tyrese Halliburton, deservedly so for the most part, because he's obviously playing incredible. He's getting a lot of the shine, whereas I feel like Pascal Siakam is still going under the radar, and I'm very glad that he got awarded with that award, because he's been playing incredibly in the playoffs, and especially in the series against the Knicks. I just feel like from a media perspective and everything like that, I don't think he's getting as covered as Tyrese is, and I don't think that is fair. And I think Siakam has been playing incredibly. So, Ryan,
I was just thinking of a parlay I saw on Twitter that they were calling the $1 million parlay, and it was Cat to not have a personal foul and Halliburton to not have a turnover, because I think the odds were just fucking like atrocious for those.
Didn't he have like 3 or 4 games in the series where he didn't have a turnover though? Like I remember, like he had one game where he played really bad, but he still didn't turn over the ball somehow.
Maybe he averages like a bunch of turnovers, like 2.5 turnovers on his career per game, kind of thing. But Cat is like good, guaranteed for 3 personal fouls a game.
Yeah,
the man just has so many.
He's a big. Like, when was the last time that you watched a game and the starting center of a team didn't get a foul?
Right.
Yeah.
Like never. So
how upset is the NBA at this matchup? From a market perspective,
you can't be thrilled. Like I'm trying to think of if this will be what I just can't imagine it's going to be a very highly watched NBA Finals. Like I just don't think the ratings are going to be there.
The entire city or the entire state of Indiana is tuning in. I mean, that's huge.
Which is probably less than the entire population of New York City by probably a magnitude or two.
Indiana and Oklahoma combined are smaller than New York City.
Yeah, that's correct. Yikes. That's exactly what I mean. It's crazy. But congratulations to both those teams. Game 1 will start in Oklahoma City on June 5th. Gentlemen, what are our predictions?
I was just going to ask a question because I think we know who the favorite is. How do the Pacers beat the Thunder?
Not easily, man. I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to, obviously, I was about to say you got to play a little bit off of the Thunder's inexperience in a setting like this, but I mean the Pacers are kind of in a similar boat with Siakam and Tyrese not having a lot of that playoff experience.
I think the key is the Pacers bigs. I think they need to play really disciplined ball, not have many silly fouls, be able to make the drivers and slashers uncomfortable in the paint, not give up a bunch of easy like rim shots, make them settle for some of those mid-range jumpers and 3 balls. Because I mean they have Siakam and Turner are some decent interior,
of course.
But OKC is definitely going to have the advantage besides Halliburton on the perimeter.
Who do you guys think is the more talented team? I think it's an interesting question. I think that there could be arguments to both sides for more talented.
I think the Thunder are, because of the nod to the bench specifically. I think the Thunder's bench is deeper.
I don't. Yeah, the Thunder won 68 games this year.
Of course,
in the regular season. Like to me, I think they're the more talented team.
Like the Pacers have been hot. Like we talked about this either the last or the previous podcast. Like they're have the best record post All-Star break besides the Thunder. So it was like the 2 hottest teams in the league got here. So. Yeah, no, like I think from a basketball purist point and for like having teams that haven't won a championship, like sick, great matchup. Like a really young team, the Thunder, that everyone thought was going to get here. Maybe they're like a year or two early. I think because that's the emergence of SGA, but I'm excited. I'll definitely be watching.
Yeah, of course. I think that I'm going to make a prediction here. I'm going to say Thunder in. I think this might go 7. I think this could go 7. I could see it going 6, but I'm going to say Thunder in 7. I think
I got Thunder in 6.
I can see it 100%. Ryan,
I want to go for the Pacers. They're my new team,
sure.
because I no longer root for the Mavs.
Valid. I agree.
Yeah, I gotta say Thunder and probably 6. I think if the Pacers can win Game 1, and because it's in Oklahoma City and because OKC's been sitting a lot longer than the Pacers, I'm really interested if they can hit them in the mouth first and somehow steal Game 1 down there. Then we could be looking maybe Pacers in 7. I think it could get really interesting after that first game.
Yeah.
If the Pacers win the series, where do you rank Tyrese Halliburton in terms of the best players in the NBA?
He's got to be top 10. I mean,
I would agree with that.
Maybe as high as. I think his highest is 7. I think it's his absolute highest.
I think his peak is like 10, right? Like even if he wins the championship, I can comfortably name 9 dudes better than Tyrese Halliburton. I think at this point.
Go ahead.
But then why aren't those dudes in the finals then? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Real. No,
why didn't those dudes win an NBA championship? You know,
Braun is bad. I mean, he's washed, man.
That's your little sugar plum. Don't talk about him like that.
All right, we're going to move past the NBA, talk a little bit about the NHL and the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup final is now set. Unfortunately, both of our teams getting essentially gentlemen swept in 5 games. Edmonton over Dallas in 5 games, and Florida over Carolina in 5 games. So the finals is Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers. Robbie, you wanna walk us through your thoughts on this?
First, shout out to the Hurricanes for winning an Eastern Conference Finals game.
Yeah, they got
huge.
Got rid of the demons. We're in Game 5 too. Played a lot better in the last 2 games, so that was cool to see. Yeah, I said it last week. Florida's really good, and they're really hard to beat in a 7-game series. However, obviously this is a repeat of last year's Stanley Cup Finals. Edmonton is going to be out for blood. Edmonton is playing really, really well right now.
Yeah.
If anyone can kind of stop this roll of the Florida Panthers, it's probably Edmonton. So I actually think they get it done. I think Connor McDavid finally gets his cup.
Yeah.
And we actually see a Stanley Cup winner from Canada for the first time in, I don't even know, a long time. I don't remember the stat off the top of my head, but it's been a hot ass minute. So
when's the last time there was a repeat Stanley Cup matchup, like in back-to-back years?
Back-to-back years?
Yeah.
There might have been a year where the Lightning played the same team back-to-back.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's just kind of a rarity in sports. That just doesn't happen very often.
Maybe just a second.
The Stars loss hurt, man. I mean
5 games.
It's not even that. It's like I'm just talking Game 5. Fucking Ottinger gave up 2 goals and 2 shots. I mean, talk about not even giving your team a chance, to even stay competitive in the series.
Did you see the clip of, so he got like subbed out after that or whatever, and he had to go sit next to the commentator who had to talk about the 2 goals that he just gave up, and it was so awkward because they were right next to each other. I was like, this is terrible. Why would you do that to either one of them? So
they just have such a high-powered offense. Edmonton has 6 goals in 3 of the 5 games against the Stars, who are a pretty decent team. So
the last time that we had the same matchup back-to-back years, 2008 and 2009, was Detroit Red Wings and the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Red Wings won 2008 and the Penguins won 2009. So
there you go. Maybe you could
see if that holds up. That was Sidney Crosby's first Stanley Cup. So
interesting. All right, we are going to move past that. We're gonna switch it up a little bit, gentlemen. We're going to do a draft. We're only going 3 deep. It's not going to be anything crazy, but we're doing a Harry Potter character draft. So stick around. Stick around for that if you enjoy that. But we're only going 3 deep, and let me get a wheel up here so we can decide
I already got you. Don't worry.
Oh, Robbie's playing me, man.
It's going to be Ryan, Robbie, Connor.
Okay. Ryan's got the first pick. We're doing the snake draft. Ryan's got the first Harry Potter character pick.
With the first pick in the 2025 Harry Potter draft, Ryan Doyle selects Severus Snape.
That is a crazy pull, actually, at the 1-1.
It's a good one.
I mean, it's a good pick. I just don't see it at the 1-1. And
should I give some justification? I mean, do we want
absolutely
this way through that? So,
please.
Severus Snape.
Spoiler alert for Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Listen, if you haven't seen or read Harry Potter by now, I don't really feel that bad. Honestly, I really don't.
Severus Snape in all 7 books, right? Has some of the most developed character arc in the entire story. Has some of the most talked about just backstory from you seeing him interact with Harry's parents and his love for Harry's mom, and just Harry coming to realize all that Severus did for him was for the love for his mother. I mean, all this stuff, and killing Dumbledore, and just the whiplash of you hate him, and all of a sudden you realize what he did for him, and I think it's the best written character in the series.
Who has a better character arc, Snape or Zuko?
That's a good one.
So that's a hard hitting question right there.
I know what we're doing for our next. I
think we did that, didn't we? Or we did a tier list of Avatar.
Run it back.
Do it again.
Here's the difference. Snape bullied 12-year-olds. Can we chill?
Can we fucking not, bro?
Call of Duty in real life, you're soft.
You're bullying an 11-year-old because the woman didn't marry you, so you're going to bully her 11-year-old son.
Do you get it now? Yeah.
It seems a little off to me. I don't know. It seems, but no, I agree. He's definitely up there.
He's a great character. However, there's one character that's done more for the Harry Potter series than any other character in the Harry Potter series. And that's Harry Potter. Let's not make it complicated.
I think Harry at the 1-2, great pick. At the 1-1, everyone expects it. You got to go.
And listen,
go somewhere else.
Can Harry be a twat throughout the story? 100%.
Multiple
wanker
times. For sure.
However, it's fucking Harry Potter. He killed Voldemort. He saved the wizarding world. Come on, sure. Let's give my man some props. He literally had a part of Voldemort living within him, and still managed to take out that man. Let's give him some props.
So I'm about to hit you with a devious back-to-back. You're gonna know exactly what's happening. Give me Voldemort Tom Riddle as my first one.
For sure.
Then on the comeback, we're going Albus Dumbledore on the on the comeback.
You just got to.
That is an elite duo right there, man.
That's tough to beat. That's tough to beat.
I don't need any reasoning for that. I mean, there's Voldemort, and especially because I think the books are better than the movies. I love the movies, grew up with the movies.
I need to reread the books. It's been a hot minute. I definitely need to reread the books.
The character stuff that they give Voldemort in the last 2 books, and Half-Blood Prince, and all the memories with his families, and how he does all the Horcruxes and all that stuff are it's some of the best character work that I've ever read. Obviously, Dumbledore I think poses a lot of interesting moral questions, he knew the danger that Harry brought to the school, yet he kind of put him there, and maybe was that endangering the other children, and did he make the best decision whenever he decided to have Snape kill him? Because he was the only one that Voldemort was scared of and everything like that. So just their rivalry and as the 2 characters, I think I got to take them as a package duo.
Two of the most powerful wizards there too. I mean,
the 2 most powerful.
If we're talking about a fight right now in terms of magic, Connor's in the lead for sure.
Oh
no question.
They are bodying Harry.
I do have to make a disclaimer. We didn't know we were doing this draft until about 3 minutes before we started the podcast, and that's the reason I'm in Mordor currently and not at Hogwarts. So I just don't want anyone to be confused as they're questioning why I'm in Mordor as we're talking about Harry Potter. But anyways. With my next pick, I'm going to take probably my favorite character, especially in the movies. A guy you want in your corner, no matter what. He's always going to be there for you. He's got your back. Give me Hagrid, man. Ooh, Hagrid is that dude. He is that dude. He's always got your back. You never have to worry about where his loyalty is.
Yeah.
Give me Hagrid.
Hagrid's also got some really interesting stuff around like his ability to use magic, and also the whole Chamber of Secrets arc. He's like a huge part of that. And he's actually got some interesting lore in terms of his character and stuff. So I like that pick. That's good.
Do you let them keep sliding?
I think
mid.
I want to take the duo, but I don't think I take the duo. I think I take one, and I think I'm struggling on who I get on at the turn. Because I'm thinking also from like a team cohesion perspective, which
I threw that out the window, man.
Yeah, you traditionally do. That is
Connor's just putting together the super team. He's not really worried about the personalities, how they're going to mesh. He's putting together the super team.
Yeah.
But and I'm slightly stalling for time here, but part of the decision making, at least for me, is impact on the series across like the entire timeline. For example, Sirius Black had a profound impact from books 3 to 5, but like at the beginning and the end of the series, he's never mentioned or is obviously like dead or in Azkaban
because he fucking died.
Yeah. Right.
He shows up in the last one when Harry has the stone and he shows up for a second.
So like, profound for 3 books for sure. I think at the 2-3, I'm taking Hermione.
Nice. Good one.
I like Hermione better than Ron. I said it.
I think some people disagree with you. Some people definitely don't like Hermione. So
she's good.
I'm not one of those people. But, those people.
Yep.
I think I'm trying to come up with someone better, but if I'm like using my own argument of like profound impact over the entire series, screen time, like Harry's right hand man, who you talked about Hagrid, I think you have to go Ron.
I think that's a good defense pick. You can't let me get Harry and Ron together. You can't let me get the gang together there.
Dude, I kind of want to go 5 deep.
That's a good. Yeah, I have a couple more.
You got a bag?
Y'all want to go 5 deep?
Deep in the Harry Potter bag right now.
I love Harry Potter.
If we're going 5 deep, it changes my next picks. I do need to know now.
Ryan, you want to go 5 deep?
Sure.
All right, let's do 5. All right, go ahead, Rob.
All right, with my next pick, we're big on loyalty on this team and just good dudes that have your back. Fan favorite character, profound impact on the story in some cases, but he's always there. Give me Dobby the elf. It's my dude.
Dobby.
We're all about loyalty here. All right, we're all about.
Dobby's not a 3rd round pick.
Dobby didn't make my long list, man.
That's crazy work. How did Dobby not make your long list?
Dobby is like
blasphemy.
Dobby's a 6th man. Like for sure. I don't think Dobby's not getting starting minutes.
Listen, Dobby's my point guard, right? He's running the show low key. He's gonna be
Dobby's your point guard.
You're telling me Dobby's the floor general?
For sure, because we got Harry the 2 knocking down shots left and right. We got Hagrid. Hagrid's holding down the middle. He's holding down the center. Nah, we got this on lock. This is not a problem.
We got to mute this man's mic. There's no way.
Here's what I'll give you about Dobby. One of in the movie specifically, one of the most heart wrenching, awful deaths at the end of part 1 of Deathly. It's hard. That one's a hard watch.
And what did Dobby do by letting himself die there? He saved everyone.
He did. He saved all of them.
Like let's give my man some respect.
Yeah.
Without Dobby, Harry doesn't get anywhere. He gets nowhere.
I hate to speak ill of the dead. For sure. That was not my intention.
But it kind of came off like that, and I'm going to have to talk to Dobby's family about how you just came after him like that.
That is
I think
crazy.
it's a little disrespectful, to be honest.
For sure.
A little disrespectful.
Not to sound like racist, does he have a family? Do house elves have family?
Yeah, didn't they have the one grumpy elf that was he related
Creature,
to that
but
one?
they're not related. I mean,
I think elves have families. I feel like they do. Where else would they come from?
It's magic, dude. They're just summoning.
They just
fucking magic.
My bad.
All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, I've got some minor characters that I think are really good characters. Ooh, I just found another one that I really like too. I got some ones that I think are really good, but to Ryan's point, there's got to be something said for impact across the series and everything like that, and how much they show up. So I'm gonna go. Give me Remus Lupin. I'm going to go with
pick.
Lupin for
Yeah.
my third pick.
It's kind of a miss by me because I did have a cat named Lupin growing up, named after Remus Lupin. That's a little
Our
bit of a
cat's
miss
named
there.
Sirius.
There you go.
We should have put them together. But yeah, Lupin, I think he's fascinating in terms of like the whole Marauders and the fact that because he's a werewolf, that's obviously an interesting plot point. But like all of them became animaguses because of him. I think that's a really interesting kind of plot point. He is essentially Harry's godfather part 2, especially when Harry kind of passes away. So yeah, I think Lupin has a lot of interesting history and everything. I don't know where I'm going to go on this fourth pick. I do want to have a woman to not be perceived as like, incredibly sexist, but I think I'm going to leave. I think the one that I want is not going to get taken. So I'm going to leave her till the end. So my next pick here is going to be Draco Malfoy.
That's I'm so upset. Actually,
So,
Ryan wanted him on the comeback around.
yeah, I apologize for that. Draco's got one of the best arcs in Half-Blood Prince. Obviously, he becomes a Death Eater, but he's pressured into it, and he almost wants to be good, but he's a bad guy, and he's got a really
it's that
interesting
family
character
pressure
arc.
too. I don't think he wants to be bad, but he has to carry on the legacy.
I also think Lucius is one of the more interesting characters because he does everything he does kind of out of fear, but he pretends that he's this higher up person, and I think he's an interesting character as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go Draco there on my fourth pick.
I'm gonna take someone that already got brought up, but Ryan kind of just let him keep going. He's a dog, literally a dog. Give me Sirius Black there at the
Sure.
in the fourth.
I think people are gonna be upset that we let him fall to the.
I would
fourth
agree.
round.
I would agree.
But to Ryan's point, he's only in 3 of them.
But he's really good in all of those.
He is.
So
He's very good in all of them. And in the books, he plays a significantly bigger part in Goblet of Fire than in the movies. So yeah, Ryan, who's your next pick? Who's your back to back?
This is tough. This is tough. I think I gotta go.
Oh, I've got another one.
I'm going for it. I'm going for the twins.
I was gonna threaten to take them as one person in the next pick. So
going with both of them.
That's a reasonable pick.
4th and 5th.
That is crazy. They don't.
I got three Weasleys on my fucking team.
You do. We got the cohesion is there. The cohesion is there. Yeah, I was gonna take the twins as like one pick because they're not the same character, but like they're almost always together. So I was gonna take them
the
as
same character.
Yeah. With my final pick, we value loyalty on this team, and I think there's one guy outstanding who is very loyal as well. Who hasn't gotten mentioned, has a great arc kind of towards the end of the story, especially in the movies. Give me Neville Longbottom.
Yep.
To round out the squad there.
For sure.
All right. This is the last pick of the draft, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, yes.
I've got like 6 people on the list still, and I would like to take a woman. And I've got 3 women here, and they are very different. All 3 of them are very different, but for 4 women, excuse me. God, who is the best character? Who do I think is the best character? I'm eliminating one. I don't think her. So I'll tell you the honorable mention because I'll eliminate them and we'll talk through it. Bellatrix Lestrange is an honorable mention. I think she's got some, but she's kind of just insane. And so I'm like, maybe as a character, she's not the best, but God, she's one of the. Oh, this is so tough. All right, another one because she's smaller and she has a significantly bigger role in the books, and she's way more interesting in the books than she is in the movies. Rita Skeeter is really interesting in the books, especially because she's an animagus in the books, and that's a really interesting kind of part of her. Who do I go with here? All right, I've already got the big. I've got like 2 villains essentially. I'm gonna go with Minerva McGonagall. I'm gonna go with as my last pick. The other one that I was considering was Dolores Umbridge because there are parts in that movie.
I just hate her though.
Just one book though, you just can't.
But there are parts in that movie where you hate her more than Voldemort, and that is true. Saying that something.
Also,
so much.
I got to give a shout out to Luna Lovegood because I also had a cat named Luna for Luna Lovegood, so I got to give a shout out there. We did another one I was thinking about was Mad Eye Moody. We didn't have a Mad Eye Moody pick, which he's pretty integral towards the end.
A lot of people would say Peter Pettigrew is a really interesting character.
Yeah.
So I have some notes here. while we're on this topic.
Mm.
The amount of times each character is mentioned through all 7 books.
Interesting.
I have the list.
Yeah.
Number of times.
Okay.
Shall we go through it? Top 10.
Should we guess?
Let's run it.
So
Harry-
we got everybody in the top 10. We took all the
Yeah,
top 10 mentions.
Yeah.
We left one person out of the top 15.
One person out of the top 15.
Yeah. We were pretty chalk on our draft, which, kind of makes sense for mentions and importance
Ginny?
in the series. You would be correct. Nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She is so heavy in the 6th book, especially. She's
So in order of mentions, right? Harry, Ron, Hermione. I think we could have.
That adds up. Yeah.
We could have guessed that. Who's your number 4?
Dumbledore.
That would be Dumbledore. That would be
Wow,
Dumbledore.
He's 4. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Is.
Number 5.
Voldemort?
Snape.
Neither.
Voldemort, Snape. That's interesting. Loop? No, it wouldn't be Lupin. He's not in it enough. It's gonna be like Molly Weasley or something. It's gonna be somebody.
No, he said we took them all.
Oh, true. You're right.
Yeah, Molly was right outside the top 15. At number 5,
Draco Malfoy.
Number 5 for most mentions is Hagrid.
Oh yeah, respect.
Yeah, that is true.
He has 370 mentions in the Sorcerer's Stone and 469 mentions in the Order of Phoenix.
That's
it's 6 is Snape, 7 is Voldemort, 8 is Malfoy, 9 is Sirius, and number 10 is Fred Weasley.
That's so interesting.
I'm curious. I assume they counted Voldemort mentions as anytime they said "He who shall not be named." That is
Tom
also
Riddle
included in the count.
Yeah. Interesting. That's very interesting.
Also, this is very on topic, guys, because they just cast Ron, Hermione, and Harry for the HBO show as well. So that'll be, I think they're starting up production now. So it'll probably be like 2 years from now. The rate HBO moves, but
so early to do a reboot, man. I just
early. I'm excited about the series because it does give them time to explore more of the things that the books talked about that maybe the movies didn't get to.
Yeah.
If they actually do like a series, if they do a season per book, there's a lot more things they could dive into, which could be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to move fast because those actors and actresses are going to age out quickly.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
The same thing they're dealing with they're doing Percy Jackson right now. It's the same thing. Yeah. It's like they released the first season, second season's coming out, but they're 2 years older and they've aged so much. It's like, what do you do?
His voice already got crazy deeper in the second season trailer. It's kind of funny. I also want to give one. He's a very minor character, but I think he's one of the more interesting ones. Gilderoy Lockhart. I think is a very, very interesting character in Chamber of Secrets because he's basically faked his whole life. And I think that's kind of an interesting.
Impressive.
Where does he rank?
Probably pretty low because he's really only in one book.
Well, no, he gets mentioned a bunch in the Chamber of Secrets. He gets 236 mentions in the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, I feel like he gets mentioned in another book at some point, but I can't remember why or when he would have. But interesting.
He is 39 on the list of mentions. Dolores Umbridge is 18, and 90% of those come in the 5th book.
Yeah, and she's in the 7th book. In the Ministry, she has the lock on her neck.
Sorry to get off Harry Potter, but in a college baseball topic, so I mentioned that number 1 overall seed Vanderbilt lost earlier today to Wright State, eliminated first ever number 1 overall seed, did not make the regional final.
Yeah.
Number 2 seed Texas is currently losing 7-1 to UTSA. In the bottom of the 5th. What mascot's UTSA, guys?
Roadrunners.
There it is.
We got it.
I thought you guys would have that one. So something to keep an eye on. Both number 1, the top 2 overall seeds potentially not making the super regionals would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
To quickly throw it back to Harry Potter and then throw it back to sports. Maybe at some point in the future we could do like a movies ranking. We all talk about that or something like that, and we could.
I might add Harry Potter books to my reading list. I've been reading more. I need to read. I haven't reread the books in so long.
Yeah. So we're going to move back to sports here. One little headline, and then we are on to a bracket that is all sports. So stay with us. The Southeastern Conference, or SEC, is ratcheting up penalties on schools whose fans storm the field or rush the court, doing away with an escalating fine system and now charging $500,000 per incident. Gentlemen, being from Alabama,
soft.
Immediately.
If you don't want to get the field rush, don't lose. And secondly, people have been rushing fields for forever. Why are we just now deciding that's a problem? If you want to find them for like taking down the goalpost or doing something like that, sure, that's dangerous, whatever. Like, we're just now deciding this is a safety problem when teams have been rushing the field.
That's what I'm saying.
Years.
Bro, Clemson will beat the piss out of Morehead State, and they'll still rush the fucking field.
Yep.
So, like, the SEC was really just taking $500,000 donations. Also, you think $500,000 was going to stop the Commodores from rushing the field after beating Alabama?
Or Tennessee after beating Alabama the first time in however many years. I don't care if the fine
is at that point is $25 million. You don't think those Tennessee boosters are paying every fucking dime of that?
Who is this like? It's like, I guess it incentivizes the schools to have more security. Students aren't fucking paying that fine. What do they care? Like, who is this actually stopping?
Yep.
I think that's the best point. Is like students don't care. Like you just said, they're not paying the fine, so it's going to be on the schools and stuff. So,
and like I said, if you want to like start putting some things like, okay, you can rush the field, but you can't touch the goalpost. You make sure they all have those full down goalposts. They can't mess with like stuff like that. Sure, that's definitely not safe. But otherwise, like, let them rush the field. Let them do it.
No, I agree. I think it's good. All right, we're going to move on to our bracket, gentlemen. It is a what if bracket. So some of the biggest sports what ifs in history. We have 16 seats here. Typically, we're able to get through these in a relative decent amount of time. So our first matchup. You guys ready for this? You guys excited for it?
Can I get a visual? I'm a visual learner.
Oh,
same. I was about to ask the same thing.
God, you guys do this every single time. 1 second. Hold on.
I like to look at the bracket so I can think about it.
Yeah, I got you. 1 second.
I know good at listen.
You guys just need everything from me, huh?
Hey, Rob.
Yep.
Where's this blanket from?
Turkish Airlines represent.
Connor, we do have to get a maybe not even for the podcast, but I need to get a breakdown of your fucking traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I got absolutely nothing in terms of your trip.
We can do that. All right, it was just sent into the Discord, gentlemen.
I see the one you put in there just to fucking hurt me now, you asshole. I actually, the funniest thing is that actually popped up today. A highlight of that did.
Really?
It ruined my day. Yeah, it was tough.
So basically, before all these, because I couldn't fit, like if I said what if, whatever the thing was, it wouldn't fit. So just put what if in front of all these statements, and it'll work. So the first matchup is, what if Derrick Rose never gets injured? We're just basing this kind of off of what we think is most interesting, what our favorite what if is. So it's just that. What if Derrick Rose never gets injured? What if Cam Newton dives for the ball in the Super Bowl?
Derrick Rose, Cam Newton, that game was over.
Yeah, agreed. And also, like, in terms of the trajectory of the sport, very different. Cam Newton dives through the ball and somehow the Panthers come back. Like, they win a Super Bowl and probably don't stuff another one still. Like, I don't think that really changes anything.
Yeah.
Now is this just like the Derrick Rose's first injury? Because he blew out both knees.
I'd say the one right after he won MVP, right? So he won MVP and then the next season he blew out his knee.
Sure. Okay.
That's what I would say. All right. Our next matchup, very NBA focused, and two very interesting NBA the things that happen. Kevin Durant. What if Kevin Durant doesn't join the Warriors? What if the Chris Paul trade doesn't get vetoed?
CP trade, in my personal opinion.
In terms of impact on the league, for sure. But it is interesting to talk about. Say KD doesn't join the Warriors and he goes somewhere else and still wins the championship. Now, I don't think he would have, because I don't think he's beating the Warriors anyways. But let's say he doesn't do that. Mm-hmm. KD's legacy is vastly different.
Yeah, it's very different.
Vastly different. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to think about. I really don't know where he would have gone, though, other than staying in Oklahoma City.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a top 15 player getting...
We're going to talk about this in the next...
not getting a ring versus, like, changing the trade dynamics of an entire sport.
It was such a bullshit thing, too.
It was. It was 100% bullshit.
I could not believe that.
Yeah.
Does that team with Dwight Howard, LeBron, and CP win...
Yes.
A championship, though.
Yes.
Yes. It's
Dwight was a fucking dog, and people love to forget, like, the 5 years that he was, like, 3-time DPOY, like, an absolute fucking problem. Prime Braun, and, like, 13 assists a game.
Sorry,
for Chris
not
Paul.
Bron. It would have been Kobe.
Oh, you're right, Kobe.
apologize.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes,
I also said LeBron. Yeah,
you said it, and I'm just like immediately was yes, but no.
Yeah.
So it's like Kobe just would have gotten early 2000s Shaq, just Dwight, like
Pretty
Howard, and then you actually had a ball like a floor general and upgraded Derek Fisher or whatever the hell. Like,
yep.
And they still ended up with Steve Nash.
Yeah, but he was
on his way down.
Steve
But
Nash.
they did end up with Steve Nash still.
That is true.
We would never have Lob City either.
That is true. What if the 2007 Patriots go undefeated? What if KD, Harden, and Westbrook stay together in Oklahoma City?
You know what? The 07 Patriots going undefeated would have been cool, but has no impact on Tom Brady's legacy at all because he's still the greatest quarterback of all time.
Say it again for the people in the back.
It doesn't really matter.
But
because it didn't kickstart like the Giants being any good. The Giants just like won the wild card and won us.
And Brady won 2 more Super Bowls with the Patriots.
Right.
I thought 3 more. Like it didn't really change anything. It would have been a cool record, but it didn't change anything.
My only pushback would be, would that not have meant that there would be an undisputed, more NFL history, there would be like an undisputed best team of all time? Like
I still think there would have been an argument made that the undefeated Dolphins would have been up there in 85 Bears as well. I don't think that it would have been undisputed necessarily.
Agreed.
Sure. So you
I
want
think
to
it would have given more ammo, obviously, but also who sometimes like I don't really give a shit what all the talking hats say about who's the best ever team and comparing different eras. That doesn't actually mean anything for the sport.
Yeah,
like
comparing one team in 1 year is kind of irrelevant to like a player's full career. If you're talking about the best players.
Now, this one's an interesting one because the whole KD, Harden, Westbrook. I don't know if it could have physically happened due to salary cap restrictions.
They also never would have all become the players they became had they stayed together.
Right.
You wouldn't have seen James Harden become a superstar.
I think James Harden never becomes like a full-fledged superstar.
Yes, I agree with that. But
Westbrook
I think
and KD, yes. I think both Westbrook and KD would have won an MVP had they stayed together still. I don't think Harden would have become the player that he became had they stayed together.
Yeah, I agree with that. So which one do we want? We want to go KD, Harden, Westbrook? We just think it's more interesting?
Yeah. Since we didn't move KD to the Warriors up, we might as well move that one along.
Sure. Our next matchup is the Seattle. Speaking of, the Seattle Supersonics don't relocate to Oklahoma City, or what if Bo Jackson stays healthy?
This is a good one. This one's really good. I want to say Bo because it was a freak injury. It's not. It's just like one bad tackle and one just like ill-informed medical team didn't get him. Like just didn't know what was happening and could have like stopped some of it.
We're also talking about cutting the career short of the best 2-sport athlete in American professional sports history.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we were talking about not only a great football player, he's a better football player than he was a baseball player, but also a very good baseball player as well. You're cutting 2 of those short.
Yeah, and like no disrespect to the Sonics Thunder, but they haven't won anything.
It also doesn't matter because they're probably going to bring their team back to Seattle soon anyways. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think that's definitely the next expansion, Vegas and
I think Vegas and Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll move Bo Jackson on. Next, we have Barry Bonds stays clean, no steroids, or Robert Griffin III never gets hurt.
I hate that I keep going first, but I have like strong opinions on all of these. So you could separate Barry Bonds' career.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 Hall of Fame careers. He has the Juiced Hall of Fame career and the Clean Hall of Fame career. The fact that he's not in the Hall is an absolute travesty, but like, well, that's a whole another topic. Even I personally think even if RG3 never gets hurt, he's never going to be like a top 5 quarterback.
I would agree.
I think the question here, the bigger question, because I think we probably all agree here that Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame no matter what. Does Barry Bonds break the home run record sans steroids? That's the bigger question in the grand scheme of things, I think.
Yeah.
I still think he has a chance, to be honest with you.
I think he does. I think he does too. And it's honestly kind of funny because he was already such a one of the best hitters of all time. On the juice, he became so dangerous that teams just stopped pitching to him
Yeah.
and got like way less opportunities to actually hit home runs because of how dangerous he was. So I think he still does
I think it's a very good chance. And people always want to talk about steroids. Steroids have no effect on your hand-eye coordination. None. If anything, it probably makes you worse because you're not able to move as well as you would like to be able to move.
Sure.
So, does it impact your play and make you better? Yeah. Did it let him play for longer?
Yeah, still legal.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, he's still one of the best hitters of all time. And I don't think him not taking steroids would have changed that.
Here's the hot take of the night. Steroids are good for baseball.
Whoa.
Listen, if you don't, obviously this is an ongoing thing. They won't put the steroid era players in the hall. Why not just put a fucking asterisk next to it and put them in the hall anyways? Everyone wants to see them in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
There's an entire era of baseball that you're wiping out because there were not rules around this drug. You didn't even care about it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're not going to let them in because you changed the rules later. It doesn't make any sense.
That's the biggest thing. It's just like
we got
it's
Pete
not
Rose
like
in the Hall of Fame though, so I guess
posthumously.
Yeah. But like that's the biggest thing for me is like if it was against the rules and they broke the rules, I think that's a different story. But the fact that they retroactively are like, oh, this is a rule now, so we can't have that makes no sense. That is the stupidest thing ever. Like I don't understand that at all.
The juiced era shaped the professional sport for years. I mean, like, you think an 8-year-old gives a shit that Mark McGwire was doinking it off 500-foot home runs off the upper deck? No, I mean, they actually filled stadiums.
You want to see baseball get exciting again? Let the players juice and juice the baseballs. Double juice.
Right.
We're sitting dingers all day. Who cares about ERAs? Who cares about game times? I just want to see dingers. And that's all anyone ever wants to see when they go to a baseball
Imagine
game.
Aaron Judge on the shit. Like, that man, like, actually turns into a fucking Terminator.
Bro can't even fit through doorways. No chance.
All right, we got moving through here. We have our next matchup. This is, I think both of these are really interesting. Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt. For those that don't know, Drew Bledsoe's injury is basically the reason that Tom Brady became Tom Brady initially, or he came in the game.
But
you could say, or Michael Jordan never retires, so his father never gets.
Let's talk about MJ. Right? Are we talking about his first retirement from basketball?
His first retirement when his father passed away.
Okay. If Michael Jordan does retire the first time, there's a chance
in a row.
There's a chance that he gets suspended from the NBA anyways.
Correct.
There was always a rumor that the NBA was going to suspend him due to gambling.
True.
And they threatened him, and that's why he went to baseball for a couple of years.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Do you think the NBA would have had the stones for that?
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't think so either.
Like that was David Stern, right? I mean, he was the commissioner for forever. I think he was still the commissioner at that time.
Right.
Not mistaken.
Yeah.
All he cared about was his big markets and his big players. So no, I don't think he would have had the stones to do it at all.
So does Jordan win 8 in a row? Like it's certainly an argument to be made.
Yeah.
That he could have. Like Hakeem and the Rockets were great that year, and Hakeem was played out of his mind those 2 years. But like, it's certainly a conversation.
It is Jordan's prime. I mean, that is quite literally like.
Exactly.
I do feel like the Rockets probably would have gotten one off of him. I don't think he would have won 8.
It's possible.
I would agree. If it's Bulls Rockets 2 years in a row, I think the Rocket they probably split.
It's still 7. Like still go 7-1. Like so. Which one do you want to go here? Drew Bledsoe or Jordan doesn't retire?
I think Jordan doesn't retire because
this is a really hard one.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Bledsoe was a really
good
quarterback.
He was very good. Yeah.
But Tom Brady, don't you think he eventually takes over anyways? Even if it wasn't that season.
Drew Bledsoe's contract.
How old was he? Yeah, that's all.
Not super old because Drew Bledsoe kept playing for a while after that.
So Brady would have not started for a number of years then if he was still on.
Theoretically, but like that was a time where they did typically sit the young guys for a couple of years and then let them play anyways.
Sure.
So he might have lost a couple of years, but I don't think he would have never ascended to be the starting quarterback of the Patriots.
Yeah. What do you think, man? We gotta make a decision here. What is the bigger what if?
Okay. This is interesting. It's the 2001 season, and the New England Patriots have just signed Drew Bledsoe to a 10-year contract worth $103 million. So they had inked him long term.
Yeah.
I really kind of want to go the Bledsoe route because we just talked about Brady being the GOAT.
Yeah. I think that's more interesting because I think there are more questions. Whereas Jordan, I think we kind of think we know what probably would have happened. It would have been Bulls Rockets 2 years in a row, and it would have been Bulls probably won one, Rockets would have won the other. And I think that's kind of it.
And I guess
I
it's
I,
the
I
same
gotta go
argument.
Brady.
It's the
Yeah.
same argument that I made earlier about the '07 Patriots.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan is the best player of all time,
Yeah,
regardless
exactly.
of if he retired or
Well,
not. Yeah, I know. Anyways,
Yeah.
but like if Bledsoe doesn't get hurt and Brady never gets a chance to start, then maybe he doesn't
Yeah.
become the greatest quarterback.
Yeah.
I think you have to go with that because just on the surface, it's a 6th round quarterback
Yeah.
that might not actually get starting reps till
Mhm.
2 or 3 more years in the league.
Yeah.
Versus GOAT just wins one more.
Yeah.
I gotta say Bledsoe.
Gonna move on to the next matchup. I think this one is more interesting than it initially presents itself as.
I
But
agree.
it's NFL, so we're gonna go Seattle. What if the Seattle Seahawks ran the ball on the one? Gave it to Marshawn Lynch instead of throwing the interception to Malcolm Butler against the Patriots, or what if Des Bryant catches the ball in the playoff game against the Green Bay Packers, and that is ruled a catch? Which in nowadays NFL, it would be ruled a catch.
Yeah.
So, what is the bit? What do we like more? What is the better? What if? I think this is also very tough because one was in the Super Bowl, obviously, and one was just in the playoffs. But I do think that Cowboys team was good enough to possibly go to the Super Bowl that year if they had gotten past Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I think does Romo's career change a little bit? Does Dez's career change a little bit if they end up making the playoffs that year or the Super Bowl that year?
Yeah, there's no guarantee that the Seahawks run that ball that Marshawn gets in.
This is also true. This is also a good point.
Des catches the ball, the Cowboys win.
Yeah.
Not technically. It would have been like down.
Minutes left?
He was down at like the 1.
He would have been
something.
down
That's
at
right.
the 1st and 10 at the 1.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think that the Cowboys, they like the best O-line in the league. I think they would have gotten into the end zone. I would be pretty confident in that. But
then the fucking choke boys have to actually win
yeah,
That's
2 games for it to matter.
But I think that's makes the what if more interesting because like what if the Seahawks run the ball, Marshawn scores and then this Seattle just wins the Super Bowl. Like that's kind of I don't think anything happens off the back of that. Whereas like I think the Dez catch, there's more that may happen off the back of that than the Seattle thing.
Brady play another season with the Patriots after that?
I think he did because the Falcons.
That was pre 28-3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he did.
So he's still with the Patriots regardless.
Yeah. So I kind of want to go Dez. I think that's more interesting, to be totally honest. But I don't know.
Dez made a rule change happen. I mean, that's definitely something to talk about.
What do we want to go with, gentlemen? We got to get through these.
So change the Super Bowl and potentially Seahawks trajectory versus
Droppy's point though, no guarantee that Marshawn gets in the end zone. I mean, probably, but not 100%.
This one's tough. I kind of want to go Dez, but I'm really not married if either of you have an opinion.
Connor want to go Dez. Let's go Dez.
I want to go Dez.
Okay. I think we might get crucified for that one.
Yeah,
I don't know
I think
why, but
I agree there. We're gonna go with our last first round matchup. We have the Tuck rule doesn't exist, or LeBron stays in Cleveland.
LeBron staying in Cleveland is interesting.
Yeah.
Are they able to ever build a team around him if he never leaves?
Mm-hmm. I think that's more interesting.
Or are they just perennially a top 4 team in the East and never like...
I'm sure LeBron still drags them to a couple NBA finals, but I don't know that they ever give him a team good enough to win.
Caps don't draft Kyrie. They'd be too good.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to draft Kyrie.
They also wouldn't be able to draft Anthony Bennett, so... It's a lot to think about there.
But as we've seen, players will go play with players. Like, you don't have to be drafted, even if it's Cleveland. Like, someone's going to want to go fucking play with LeBron James. Like,
Kyrie didn't. That's why he left, because he wanted to be the guy. And so Kyrie he wanted to be the number one option until he got a little older.
Could Chris Bosh have still gone to Cleveland? Obviously, he went to Miami, but could Chris Bosh have gone to Cleveland?
Well, Wade, I don't know, because Wade was never leaving Miami. So
I thought Bosh...
Toronto.
I'm trying to remember if Bosh made the decision first or if Braun.
I think Braun did. and then Bosch went off the back of LeBron's decision. I think that's what happened.
I'm trying to remember this.
Oh, this is really interesting. I did not remember this. There was at one point a report that the Raptors had agreed to a sign and trade to send Chris Bosh to the Cleveland Cavaliers
Whoa,
in 2010.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting, actually.
But and obviously this is before, I think, LeBron. Oh, this is before LeBron made the decision.
That's really interesting.
So did the Raptors rescind it?
Yeah.
Bosh has to get over the big city obsession. It appears he wants to play with LeBron James, but is not willing to sacrifice the city because it says that Bosh has expressed interest in playing for either Chicago, New Jersey, or Miami.
So they probably talked to each other, and LeBron was like, I'm going to go to Miami. And then Bosh was like, okay, I guess I'll just follow you there. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. I think like the Tuck rule one, I think it's interesting. I don't think it's as interesting just because like Brady, I still think even if they lose that game, like even if they lose that Super Bowl, I think, he's still regarded as probably the best still of all time. And so I think the LeBron one is more interesting because it changes the entire landscape of the NBA for like the next 5 years, out of probably 10 years.
So it's like LeBron's prime, like that. Yeah. That is prime Miami LeBron.
Yeah.
That's great. There's multiple reports that the deal the Raptors sending Bosh to Cleveland was done, but he wouldn't sign with the Cavs. They couldn't do it because it's supposed to be a sign and trade.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Next we have in the second round, Derrick Rose never gets injured. The Chris Paul trade doesn't get vetoed.
I think in terms of the NBA and how many different teams it touched, I think CP is bigger.
Yeah. I gotta go with that
too.
Yeah, that was pause, bro.
I said bigger. CP. That wasn't great.
Yeah.
That was.
Can we bleep that out?
Yeah, it was not. In terms of how many teams were affected by Chris Paul not being traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, I think it has a bigger impact on the league as a whole than Derrick Rose not getting hurt.
Crazy work.
Next matchup, KD, Harden, and Westbrook stay together on the Thunder, or Bo Jackson stays healthy.
Woo! This might be my favorite bracket we've done. This has been absolutely thought-provoking. Good question. I'm sure we have fucked up majority of these.
Dude, we're going to get destroyed for the Marshawn Lynch.
We're going to have so much TikTok bait.
Yeah, exactly. This one's tough too, man. I think I would argue Bo, because I think it's one of those things where I think there's more what ifs attached to it, whereas I think we kind of know what happened with the Thunder, whereas like KD and Westbrook become the players that they are, but Harden never becomes the guy, and maybe they win a championship at some point, maybe 2 at a max or something like that. But I think there's just more what ifs attached with Bo, and like how highly he's regarded in terms of like how much impact he has in the NFL and the MLB. I don't know. I just think it's more.
Is there a chance of Bo Jackson? This is just a question I really don't know the answer to. If he hadn't gotten hurt, like what were the odds of him making the Hall in both football and baseball?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
High in football.
Agreed.
Yeah,
he is in the Royals Hall of Fame just based off my quick Google search, which is interesting. But
it is interesting.
I
don't know.
The baseball hall is real picky, real finicky.
The baseball writers would have been upset about having a football player in the hall.
I would agree with that. I don't think he would have been good enough to make the hall for baseball, personally.
Yeah.
And who knows, right? Who knows as he got older?
Yeah.
How long he could have been a dual sport athlete. And, in my mind, being dual sport cuts his football career shorter.
You'd probably have to go to baseball full time at some point.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of what my thoughts are. It's like, how many more years did he have in the tank to play as a running back?
For his baseball career, he was batting .250 and had 141 home runs.
Yeah, that's like, jeez, Hall of starting.
Yeah.
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 He made some amazing athlete. Like,
yeah.
He's a great defender, though, too.
Oh, he had a cannon. I mean, he was just a freak of nature athletically.
His WAR is 8.3. For any
big WAR guy
out there, big WAR guy.
All right, gentlemen, what are we going here? We Thunder stay together or Bo Jackson stays healthy.
I think the fact that we sat here and talked about if Bo Jackson could be in the Hall of Fame in both sports makes it a bigger what if to me.
Yeah, I lean Bo as well.
It is kind of funny though, because of the teams he played on, they both sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Royals were not very good, and the Raiders, I think this was after they were had like gone to a Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just I think we gotta go. I think we'll go Bo, but
y'all want to? Hey, hon, I gotta verify that this stat is correct, but this is wild. Jim Harbaugh has more career rushing yards in the NFL than Bo Jackson.
Really? That's crazy.
That is a crazy stat.
Yeah, that is a crazy stat. Wow. Huh. Very interesting. All right, we're going to keep moving. Gentlemen, I think this may be the toughest one we've come across so far. Barry Bonds stays clean, or Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt. I think there are lots of questions.
Fucking Bo only played 38 games.
Yeah, that is wild. Yeah, but it's got to be Bo there. What do we think? Barry Bonds stays clean, or Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt? This is another one where I'm like, there are so many questions I think off the back of both of them. I think that I might lean Bledsoe, and the reason being that the Bonds one was significantly more. There were significantly more questions and everything in hindsight, where maybe it was less of a, like at the time, the question of Barry Bonds staying clean wasn't even like, it wasn't even a what if, because obviously the steroids thing wasn't a rule at that point. Whereas like, so I think that has more of the benefit of hindsight. But
and everyone was doing it. I mean, it wasn't just Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was juicing at that time.
I don't know.
It wasn't like he's doing something out of the norm.
Yeah. What do y'all think? Barry Bonds or Drew Bledsoe?
I think we'll go Drew Bledsoe.
Ryan?
I think it's got to be Bledsoe.
We have our last matchup in the second round. We have Dez Bryant catches the ball against the Packers, or LeBron stays in Cleveland.
I think it's got to be LeBron.
I agree.
I also more of a.
I mean, he went to 10 straight finals. Like
he also him going to the Heat started that era of like the big threes.
Right.
Like that wasn't a thing until LeBron went to Miami.
Yep, exactly. In our semifinals, we have the Chris Paul trade doesn't get vetoed versus Bo Jackson stays healthy.
I think Chris Paul.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's just like, what does that team look like, man? Oh,
not even what does that team look like. It's just how do teams differ? Like, how many championships do the Lakers potentially win, and how does that just like change the balance in the West?
Did the Clippers ever get out of the basement? I mean, the Clippers were horrific. I mean, not that they were like, they still won a championship, but I mean, they were horrific until Chris Paul got there.
Here we go, gentlemen. Another tough semifinals matchup. Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt. LeBron stays in Cleveland. LeBron changes the NBA landscape changes, NFL landscape changes. What is more, I guess, what is more impactful? What do you think is the better what if? I think it might be LeBron, because Brady stays on the bench a few more. I don't know, because do they resign Brady like after the 3 year?
He also had a 10-year contract
or 10-year contract. Yeah,
I guess the thing I'm thinking about is even if Bledsoe hadn't gotten hurt, if Tom Brady was going to become the quarterback he became, it wouldn't have mattered if Bledsoe kept starting, because he would have just been better than him in a year or two.
But how does he get that without NFL reps?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think we know that Tom Brady has a crazy work ethic. Yeah. Don't you think it gets even more crazy if he's not even playing? Like, he has time to just be in the lab.
But Bledsoe's good enough to where, like, I don't know if you take a chance on the person that
you signed him to a 10-year deal, but like, if they're not even really sniffing the Super Bowl, like I don't think he keeps starting, especially if
you have no
Brady is
guarantee of that.
Yeah.
Like we played at low enough levels where practice reps are different than game reps,
For sure.
especially at a quarterback.
But like I said, keep in mind this is the era of the NFL where it was expected that a rookie quarterback is going to sit for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Like that was the expectation. Like this whole thing where we throw rookies in year one is a very new development. That's not what they used to do. You used to draft a quarterback knowing he's going to sit on the bench for 2 to 3 years.
It's Ryan's point. It's a 10-year contract. Like if you have somebody that's a starting quarterback in a 10-year contract, and they're consistently taking you to even the holy crap, the NFC or AFC championship, like that's not someone that you are taking a chance on their backup.
And again,
like, even if their backup's good,
Brady was the latest 6th round pick.
Yeah,
like that's a guy that you just picked to be like
in the
better than practice squad, right?
Yeah.
Like he's fight that draft position is fighting for a 53-man roster spot every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
but LeBron stays in Cleveland. That's it's a huge.
But LaBoo.
I don't know, man. It's really hard. It's really hard on both sides.
Can we use this as a TikTok? Like this is what we have talked about. Like we're deadlocked at a decision.
Well, we have to get to the finals. This is the one before the finals.
All right, here's how we'll think about this. Here's how we'll think about this. We're kind of at a deadlock here. Is LeBron staying in Cleveland a bigger what if than Chris Paul trade getting vetoed?
Oh, you want to go like NFL versus NBA?
I'm just thinking ahead. Yep. Yep.
Well, then let's do Drew Bledsoe. Let's just do NFL versus NBA then. If we don't want to do 2 NBAs, I think that's fair. I'm hearing no objections.
Let's run it.
I guess we'll go Bledsoe. All right, our finals in terms of the biggest what if in sports history: Chris Paul trade doesn't get vetoed, or Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt. It might be Bledsoe.
It
might be Bledsoe,
which means
crazy.
That LeBron staying in Cleveland has a bigger impact in our mind than the Chris Paul trade.
And I actually agree with that. That's kind of why I posed the question.
I do too. Yeah, I agree.
So because of how the bracket worked out, Bledsoe wins. But
the semifinals are the finals.
I truly think that I don't know the LeBron versus the Bledsoe one. I don't know if I could.
Really hard.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, and we could talk about it for a long time, but it's just. It has such a big impact, I think, on the NFL and the NBA itself. Like it's for the next 10 years, and it's just
I can't think of a bigger one for the NBA.
Yeah, initially, but I don't know. All right,
crazy.
That is our podcast episode. That is our bracket. We hope you enjoyed listening to the entire thing. Robbie, do you want to sign us out?
Absolutely. For myself, Ryan and Connor, thank you for listening. Back-to-back weeks. We're locked in. We're here to stay. Please like, subscribe, comment on all of our TikToks so we can argue with you in the comments about how we're right and wrong. And as always, please gamble responsibly. Thanks for listening.
Just if you don't believe Robbie, I'm going back, watching our TikToks, and responding to people that commented over a year ago. I am ready to give attitude for absolutely no fucking reason. So come on, let's drive that engagement.
But yeah, we got to go back and look at takes that people flamed and see how many of those were right. Because there are a couple in there.
There are a couple dudes that aged like fucking milk, and I'm going to find them and respond to them.
You're going to get flamed.
I think Ahmad's got a few too. So that's
Please gamble responsibly.